The next area of work is education. So we've successfully piloted a 14 to 19 education project within the UK. That's within secondary schools. We've now reached nearly 50%. We will be in 50% of secondary schools in the UK by this September. We've run a postgraduate certificate in the circular economy, which we're now scaling up to be an online international executive education program. So this is executive education, online, scalable, and made culturally specific to people from anywhere in the world. We've also recently launched, just 2 weeks ago, the Ellen MacArthur Fellowship Programme. So this is an international fellowship programme that we're running in conjunction with the Schmidt Family Foundation. That's Eric Schmidt and his wife Wendy Schmidt of Google. And the objective is to not only find the new global leaders of tomorrow and work with them around the subject of the circular economy, but also, very importantly, work with the universities. So when any young person comes on the fellowship programme, they will come on the fellowship programme with a lecturer from their university. So to take this knowledge, to take information into universities across the world. Initially we're in Europe, the US and India, and in the second and third years we'll move also into China and Brazil. Our work in business. We launched with the support of our founding partners, obviously from business. We have, since the initial launch of the foundation, triggered circular economy projects within those 5 companies of a value in excess of $1 billion US. And that's towards 2016. That's pretty short timescales. So that's looking not only at being able to recover materials through different design, but also unlocking value through new business revenues through different business models. So not just saying, how can we design this product so that we can get the materials back, but if we design this product so we can get the materials back, not only what is the value of those materials, but what's the value of shifting the business model to allow us to do that? Because if we spend all that money doing that and then sell it, will we get the value back? Probably not. Someone else will get the value back. Is there a cheaper way of running this whole system so we make more profit, but ultimately the user gets that product for less? So it's the win-win situation. We're also seeing within the business space the idea spreading. We went to the World Economic Forum in January 2012. No one had heard of the circular economy. In January 2013, there were 5 individual events within the World Economic Forum around the subject of the circular economy. Businesses has taken on this on board. The media is starting to follow the idea of a circular economy. It's coherent. It makes sense. There's economic value attributed to it, which seems to be one of the big drivers in moving the agenda forwards. We were contacted by the EU Commission over a year ago now, and we've been working with them on the European Resource Efficiency Platform, which now actually has, at the end of the manifesto, in the first paragraph, that Europe has no choice but to transition towards a resource-efficient and ultimately regenerative circular economy. And there's a lot of work that we're doing at the Foundation on what are the things that will accelerate this transition the most quickly. So basically, the idea is gathering momentum. We now no longer work with just our initial 5 founding partners, but in January this year, we launched the Circular Economy 100, which is a program for 100 businesses and pioneering regions from across the world who are working to accelerate towards a circular economy. So we're looking at workshops, we're looking at summits, we're trying to gather as much information as we can and catalyse change in as many areas as possible across the global platform. And that also includes 20 innovation companies, so small companies who come onto the programme for no cost, who are doing extraordinary things. And one example of that would be Eben Bayer's company in America. He is making a replacement for styrofoam corners. When you buy a computer, it comes packaged. The corners are in styrofoam. That's something we can't really process and ends up lasting forever. He's created an alternative made out of mycelium. He grows the alternative in his factory, and he's now on price parity with styrofoam, thanks to US investors. So he's doing something absolutely extraordinary. But that mycelium packaging will never become waste, because you could throw it in a field, you could put it in your bin, you could flush it down your toilet. It will never be waste, because it has value, it has nutritional value in it, and it's designed to fit within that biological cycle. A few examples of the circular economy in action, just to show what's going on in the global marketplace. Michelin tires in the US. If you're a US truck road haulier, you don't buy the tires from Michelin, you pay per mile. After so many miles, they take the tyre back, they remanufacture and it comes back to your lorry. So you don't buy the tyres, you pay per mile. Caterpillar engines, Caterpillar have reman engines, engines which are designed to be remanufactured. So they're designed to be able to recover the sleeve from inside the cylinder, and then rather than reboring the engine, as we so often do, that then eventually deems the engine useless, you change the sleeve around the cylinder. You put in a new sleeve and then it goes out again and can run virtually as well as the day it was made. Renault's new fleet of 4 electric vehicles, they've not only built 4 electric vehicles, but they've changed the model. So when you buy an electric vehicle from Renault, you buy the car, but you don't buy the battery. You lease the battery, like we have a mobile phone contract, which allows us to buy the vehicles at pretty much market rate. They're not extortionately expensive. They've shifted the business model. That's with the electric vehicles. They also have a remanufacturing plant just outside Paris, where they take engines, gearboxes, fuel pumps, diesel pumps, from right across the Renault network. They come into that factory, they get disassembled, they get ultrasonically cleaned, they then get reassembled, and they go out the door, and they go out the door in a box saying genuine Renault parts for significantly less than a new engine, but with a warranty that gives it the same warranty as a new engine. So effectively you get the same guarantee, but it costs you significantly less. And there's a very high percentage of the engines and the gearboxes that leave there are actually physically remanufactured parts. Some are new, but the majority is remanufactured. It's a different business model. Ricoh printers and photocopiers, they go into Ricoh's plant in Telford in the UK, they remanufacture them, they take them apart, they ultrasonically clean them, they respray them, they upgrade the software, they go back out the door, same warranty as a new one, costs significantly less than a new one, and they make significantly more profit than they do on a new one. It's a different business model. They're just starting out, but it's working. Mizumo Mobile, quite different space, mobile phones. Set up just a couple of years ago, between the UK and Australia, they buy your old phones, the phones that you put in your drawer when you get your new phone. They were paying out, 6 months ago, 5 million sterling a month and buying 100,000 phones a month from us, the phones we don't want anymore, because they still have value. And those phones are being resold into the marketplace. But what if those phones were designed for disassembly? What if the components were recovered, the phones were recovered, resold, and then ultimately the materials recovered? And as a response to that, the mobile phone operators, O2 here in the UK, brought out O2 Lease. Really good iPhone tariff for business, but you don't own the phone. We do. And actually, when you think about it, most people probably don't want to lease a phone. But Vodafone thought of that, and they called it Vodafone Red Hot. Great tariff. Every 18 months you get a new phone. Performance contract. Totally different way of looking at it. Why would you not want a performance contract? You get the best kit, you get it refreshed 18 months. You don't own the phone, but you really want to keep the old one when the next iPhone comes out? You don't need it. You want the technology to do the job. It can go back, it can get resold, disassembled, put back into the marketplace. It's a different way of doing business, becoming more and more acceptable. Turn 2, over in the Netherlands. Turn to provide office services, but not in the traditional sense. If you get lighting from Turn 2, you don't pay for the light fittings, and you don't pay for the electricity. You pay to have 450 lumens at desk height. They have an agreement with Philips. Philips provide the lighting, Philips pay for the electricity. Philips are incentivized to provide the least energy-intensive lighting because they pay the bill. So the whole lighting model shifts when you change from buying the equipment yourself to paying for lumens at desk height. Plus, when they change the light fittings, they take them back. So they design them so they can recover the materials. Puma, plastic bags, not plastic. They're made out of bio-nutrient, cornstarch, so when you buy your shoes and it comes in a bag that looks like plastic, you put the bag in the sink, you stir it up, you can flush it down the toilet, you can throw it in the yard, you can do what you like with it. It's non-toxic, it's biodegradable, it has value, it has nutritional value within it. It never becomes waste because it's designed so it doesn't fit into that cycle. And we're talking about here a shift in the global economy, which I'd be the first person to say is a huge task. But when I think about big challenges, when I think about what's possible, when I think about why I think this is achievable, I think back to my great-grandfather. And I think back to what happened within his lifetime. When he was born in 1894, there were 25 cars on the road in the entire world. They'd only just been invented. When he was 15 years old, we flew for the first time in history, ever. Now, 3 times the population of the world back then fly every single year. When he was 45, we developed the first computer. Many said it wouldn't catch on, but it did. And just 20 years later, that room had been turned into a microchip. And now they're much smaller, and there'll be thousands of them in this room here today in our phones and IT equipment. 10 years before my great-grandfather died, the first mobile phone. At the time, it wasn't really that mobile, certainly not that portable. But now it is. And it's enabled us to invest in entirely different infrastructure in developing countries from the infrastructure we've put in our developed countries. It's changed the course of history through investing in different ways. And as my great-grandfather left this earth, the internet arrived. If ever there is a time that we can shift towards a circular economy, if we can rethink the future, it's right now. Because any one of us in this room could have an idea right now, and it could literally be right across the world in seconds. Thank you.